Yeah, I'ma kill you in a second if I have to. Use my mind as a weapon when I blast through. Put the basics in the base.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 14 of the PT Performance Podcast. Today, joining me as usual, we've got Nate. What's up, Nate?
Good evening.
We've got Richo up in the corner.
Hey, guys.
And Richo's brought along with us today. We've got a guest on the show, Sandy. Sandy's a PT out there at EMF with Richo. Richo, why don't you introduce Sandy to the show?
Yeah, so this is Sandy Joubert.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. So we've been working together now for 3 months, and she's extremely good at what she does, and I definitely feel like a lot of you people can benefit from what she has to say and share with us. So, Sandy, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Will do. Hey guys, Sandy Joubert, and I've been working with Matto probably now for about 3 months. I knew about him before he came over to EMF, so I was very excited to have him as part of the team. I think one of the reasons, as we've discussed before, is I've tried and tested a couple of things in the industry. I've been around probably since 2004. So, like everybody, I was 21 years old and thought, okay, I'm going to be a PT. Went off and studied with the Australian Institute of Fitness in Sydney. Fitness First came around and offered us the world and said, you guys are going to be excellent PTs. Come on in. The rent's about $200. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So, you're 21 years old and you go into the fitness industry, love of sport, went to the gym from a very young age. My dad is a bodybuilder. So probably from about the age of like 5 years old, I was in the gym and I thought, why not? I've watched my dad do tricep dips and chest press. I'll be fine. So went into Fitness First, worked with Fitness First for about 5 or 6 years. Did okay, still doing a lot of jobs on the side, bit of everything I could. And then obviously stepped aside a bit and then went into the management role with Fitness First. I kind of got a bit tired of the, I suppose, commercial gym, then walked over to a bit of a smaller gym. Same thing, PT'd for them, but managed on the side as well. So as you can see, common trend here, trying to PT, trying to make a business out of PT, but still doing a lot of stuff on the side to kind of keep that business going. I then left the industry completely and then worked purely with kids, but it kind of just kept biting at me, that PT stuff. So I did a lot of sort of one-on-one stuff with parents, mums and that on the side, and then kind of went back into the PT and fitness industry, but still then had the kids on the side. And that's kind of like, at the same time, I just couldn't decide which one I really wanted to do or put the effort into which one. Moved to the Gold Coast and then just did full-time work again with the kids. So started my own little preschool sports program. Once again, still doing PT on the side for mums and dads and boot camps. And so that PT is just, that one-on-one training has just always been with me, and group fitness has always been with me. And then, got an opportunity with EMF as a kids trainer. Came into EMF and 10, 11 years later, and it's probably been the best thing. The last 18 months has just been absolutely phenomenal. And I just probably decided that, if I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do this 110%, and I can't have anything else that's going to keep me away from, doing purely personal training. And it's been great. Been really, really good. So 100% focus in PT, and it's been a fantastic 18 months.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But that bio makes me tired. That's a lot of stuff.
Sorry. But I think from watching you guys and watching your podcast, I think one of the big things we were talking about in the beginning is, you've got to come into this with a bit of an understanding. It's going to be hard. You've got to have a bit of a financial backing. You're not going to make a full book of clients in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, first 3 months, 6 months. And you've got to put 110% in, because if you keep, dwindling over to other things, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to make a success of this. So I think that's what I like what you guys have said in the past.
I'll jump in first, Sandy, if I can. I'm sure there's going to be some more basic questions that we'll ask in a sec, but I'd like to hear your side of it, because you mentioned a lot that you had other stuff to keep your PT career, dream or whatever going. But we also talk about, for us, when we have new people starting, come into it with some backing. Now, I did it kind of like you, but knowing what I know now, I would have saved up some stuff and kind of gone full-hearted into it. I would like to hear the other side, where we say that, full into PT and just make this your thing. A lot of people don't have that luxury. Clearly, you didn't start. Can you talk about potentially the advantages of doing it your way, but also the disadvantages as well that you found because you weren't in it?
Yeah, I suppose the advantage was that, you know, if you had a couple of bad days, you were still okay because you still had that constant income coming in from some other source. I think that the advantage I had as well is I was always involved in some sort of sports industry. So whether it was not just one-on-one PT, it was at least something that was related to health and fitness. So generally, if I was working with the kids, it would be good because then the mums would ask you questions. So it was always that little, you'd always go back to that PT stuff or back to that exercise history of yours. I don't think it's ever a bad thing to have a backup. You know, when I started in what we're talking 2004, 2005, there wasn't anything like Facebook and Instagram. You know, you didn't have online, you know, online PTing wasn't a big thing. So if you didn't have that as support, and maybe if we did that a bit more now, we were actually one-on-one and saw people more, maybe it would be different for anybody now. But yeah, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram. You couldn't just go and do, you know, hop on and do online PTing to support you. So you had to have another job to keep you going in the beginning if you didn't have the financial backing. But, you know, if this is what you really want to do and you're going to put wholehearted effort into it, and you're not going to just think that you're going to work for 20 to 40 hours a week and make money, you're going to have to put the hard yards in and long hours, and you can get there.
Do you think it took you longer? I might have answered my own question here. Do you think it took you longer to build up a client base because you couldn't be in it all the time because you had to go and work hours elsewhere?
I suppose I in that way, I also had to decide when did I want to be in the gym as well, because I suppose I could have built up now knowing and looking back, knowing that the time that I spent in the gym, I got the clients. So when I was there, I got the clients just because, you know, I got along with people. I seemed like I knew what I was doing, and, you know, people tend to like me. So, you know, if you don't have that personality and you're not gonna, then it might be a little bit hard and you have to put a little bit more effort in. But I had to decide when I wanted to be in the gym, and if I wasn't going to be there for after school drop off and I wasn't going to target the mums, then that's fine, you know, because then I had to go and do my kid stuff. But then I had to be there later at nights, and then I had to decide, well, did I want to be working later at night? So then maybe I should give up 1 or 2 days with the kids so that I could be there for after school drop off. You know, it's hard when you're doing, you guys know, when you're doing 8, 9 o'clock at nights and then having to back it up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to burn out. It's going to be hard. So I suppose I had to choose what times I needed to be where. I don't know if that kind of answers the question, but
it does. That was one of my favorite times in the gym, seeing Richo coming in the morning for 5 and 6 a.m. clients. That was some of the best times because he's not a morning person. And
hey, I love my job, and everybody's like, oh, it gets easier. I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 years. When that alarm goes off at 4:15, and I literally live 2 minutes from Robina, it's still a pain in the ass.
See, I'm the opposite. I am the morning person, so I'm totally fine. Like within 5 minutes of waking up, I'm good. Within 5 hours of waking up, he's still not awake. So
yeah.
I see him at about 10 o'clock. He's like, hey, Sandy. I'm like, mate, I've been here for like 5 hours. But
yeah.
So, Sandy, got a question for you. With regards to, with your limited time to be in the club, looking for opportunities to train people, what did you find was your best ROI on time in terms of trying to generate leads and opportunities to get in front of prospective clients? What did you do to generate those opportunities?
Well, it's once again, like it was a bit different for me. Let me go back to my fitness first days maybe, because with EMF it was a bit different because obviously we walked in and we had a database of 800 members already signed up. So it was kind of easy for us coming into EMF. So total different environment. I think with Fitness First, it's just, I was just available. Like I just, you know, I blocked out whether it be, I knew I had a client maybe at say 5 o'clock in the morning and maybe another one at 6. And then, you know, I was prepared to be there for another 2 hours, block it out and just be available, you know, whether that be me going in and doing a workout and just doing the stuff that I love and I know I'm good at and just being available. Like if anybody needed any help, I would help them out. And I've been quite fortunate, I suppose, with my personality, because I am warm and outgoing and helpful. And I think people don't just see me coming along as, you know, yes, everybody is a lead and a potential client, but if you actually just show them that you care and you're actually just willing to help them in some way, you know, you might not get them straight away as a client, but, you know, 5 or 6 months down the track, if they do need someone because they've injured themselves or something's happened, who do you think they're going to go to? They're going to go to that person that was there, that was willing, that was helpful. Yep. Spend some time, you know, put the hours in, and they'll come to you. Yeah,
good. So it's service mentality, service orientated. Go out there and get them what they need and help them out with no real pitch attached to it straight away. So and that's cool, man. That's something we do preach on here, obviously, is if you go out with that service mentality, not thinking with your back pocket, the results do come. How did you, when you got the opportunity though, again, go back to your fitness first days, because I wasn't fitness first, but I was in a similar environment, and it was very pitch heavy when you did have the opportunity to sit in front of somebody. Now, go back now with today's Sandy and look back then and say, were the clients you were picking up and converting to PT sessions, were they as a result of your service, your personality, your way that you would, you know, take care of people? Was it the structure of the pitch, or was it just being there? Yeah, a bit of good luck, a bit of good fortune for being the right place, right time.
Yeah, I suppose good luck and good fortune, but definitely pitch as well. Like, I think you've got to find out why they're really there. What's really driving them, not just, you know, oh, I want to lose 5 kilos. Like, if you can find out the real deeper meaning as to why they're there, it's going to make all the difference. Yeah, I believe. I know. Yeah, and I think that's important for a lot of people. I think it's important for people to hear that, because the service orientation is number one. That gets people to listen and to trust and to like you, but you still have to have some form of pitch. You still have to have some sort of offering to bridge the gap between I'm here to help and I'm building a business at the same time, without saying I'm building a business, you know? And I think we've talked about that before, the structure and the process that comes with the commercial gym setting. If you apply it with the right purpose and the right reasoning, then it's quite powerful. But I think where a lot of people get it wrong is they don't apply the pitch because they feel it's salesy, and they don't quite make the connection between the necessity of having some sort of offer or pitch at the end of your service. And you've got to ask, right? Like, if you're worried about like presenting your price or presenting a pitch, you know, all people can do is say no. Don't be scared. I think as a younger trainer, I was always nervous about asking people for money or saying, you know, look, this is my service, do this. But I think you've got to ask. You've got to just put it out there, and people can only say no. Exactly right.
Richo.
There we go. I've got a question, Sandy. Going back to when you first started and you were PTing and then you had another job on the side. My first question is, was that because you didn't have the bank behind you, so you felt you need to start off with?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, I was young, you know. I immigrated from South Africa. You know, we came here. We had to fend for ourselves. You know, Justin and I moved out. We didn't want to be living with my mother forever, so we moved out from a fairly young age, and we had to fend for ourselves. You know,
so what was it? Because obviously you were doing both at the same time. So I think to me there's different personalities. Like, I think some people can do that because they like that safety net behind them, and the fact that they don't have to try and get 30, 40 clients a week to survive. So I think people that sort of like that, and I guess that probably helps them with their work and their sales anyway, because then there isn't that pressure on them. So I guess then you've got the other people where once you remove that safety net and you sort of get thrown into the deep, it forces them to swim and forces you to be successful. So what was it when you decided to go all in finally after all the years of doing both? What was it? Just you had enough of doing the other things? Was it you felt like, you know what, if I got rid of these and get put into the deep, I can swim? Or what was it that after all the years of doing both made you go, you know what, I'm going to do only PT?
I think it was just a confidence thing, purely a confidence thing. I think I was out of the industry for a while, and I had these blinkers on, you know, and I was surrounded by this world of bodybuilding where everybody spoke about macros and every single body part and knew everything about everything. And I thought to myself, gosh, what do I know? You know,
Yeah.
what is it? Where have I been? What have I done? And it kind of had gone so far away. I suppose the fitness industry, you're involved in this world of social media and
Yeah.
people around that look perfect, especially in the Gold Coast. And yeah, I think it was just purely a confidence thing. And then, you know, I got back into this commercial setting and I realized, you know, there are people out there that just want help, that just need, just get them moving, just get them into the basics. And yeah, I think that was it. I think it was purely to do with confidence, just really allowing myself to get out there and be, okay, you know what, you can do this and you do have something to offer. Find your niche, do it good, and just show these people that, you know, you genuinely care and it's going to be all right.
So,
Yeah.
So if you had your time again and you were starting off, let's say it's 2018. So you're starting as a new PT and you have bank behind you, would you still work a second job or would you put it all in?
No, I'd put it all in.
Yeah.
To be honest, I really and truly think I would. If I had done in the past 18 months, even 5 years ago, I'd be in a much better position now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I reckon, yeah, I'd honestly and truly, I'd go all in.
How do you find being I'm just going to say a girl.
Sure.
How do you find being a girl more often than not is quite male dominant, depending on the gym you're at. I mean, when we were a good, like it was pretty 50-50.
Well, at our gym at the moment, it's, I think, what is it, 10-3?
Yeah, but you guys are sexist. So that's just, how do you feel working with sexist? There you go, that's a question.
Hey, when I did management for Fitness First, we had 2 female managers out of 102 males.
Yeah, but that's because you were the only 2 women who wanted to put up with those nerds.
Yeah, exactly. No, tell me, gosh, those meetings were interesting.
Those brown noses.
Anyway, fast forward. We've only got, what we've got, I mean, up until 2 weeks ago, it was basically just myself.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome, right? Other than the smelly PT staff room, it's great. But yeah, I don't think being a woman in the fitness industry is a disadvantage whatsoever. There's always, especially for me, like I, came into EMF and thought, okay, I'm going to train sports stars, I'm going to train bodybuilders, and I'm not going to be interested in anything else. And then my PT manager, actually Nicole, came up to me one day and said, "Oh, so you're like the middle-aged woman trainer?" And I was like, I suppose I am, but you know what? Embrace it. Look what you're attracting and embrace it. And, I've gotten really good at training. Sorry to any of my clients that are listening. I love you to bits. Hopefully they're not. But, become good at what you do. And that's what I do. 90% of my clients are middle-aged women, and I'm just really good at working with them. And I focused on that. And I do.
Do you love training them?
I do. Yeah.
See, that's a very interesting point, because I know definitely a lot of you guys, when you first start, are going to think that the people that you want to train are the professional athletes and the superstars and the rock stars. And I train some professional athletes, and they're normally the worst people to train. They just are. It's just funny that obviously you went in thinking that was the niche that you wanted, and then obviously just because it's your niche doesn't mean you exclude all other people. So, I mean, through doing that, just not excluding all other people, but thinking you had a niche, I guess you found what your real niche is and what you actually attract. So when you go into this, guys, you may think that these are the people that you want to train, or this is the majority of the people that you're going to be training. And I'll tell you right now, it's not. Like I probably thought I was going to be training a majority of young guys wanting to put on muscle. To be honest, most of my girls are between 18 and 28 and just want to feel good in a bikini and look good in a bikini all year round. That's my niche now. And I never obviously came into this thinking that would be mine, but that's who you attract, and that's who you end up getting good at training. So just because you think that you have a niche or to think you have people that you want to train, doesn't mean I don't train the people that Like, doesn't mean that I don't have my select few
Yep.
like sports clients as well. But it's funny that you might think going into it that these are all the people that you're going to train, or you might train a few gen pop, but this is going to be all that you train. And it just definitely will, most of the time, well, in mine and Sandy's case, just definitely not work out like that. And I want to really hear what Nathan has to say, because I guarantee you his is not what he fucking expected.
No, but for the most part, there's going to be some genius listening to this podcast who's 19 going, that's not going to be me. I'm going to train like athletes and models and stuff. You're not, because if you were going to train athletes, you'd be at uni doing a science degree.
Yep.
You're not, because you're retarded. So firstly, that's not going to happen. Secondly, athletes don't have cash.
Yeah.
If athletes are putting all their stuff in towards like the Olympics or the Com Games or whatever they're doing, firstly, most sports in Australia on those levels don't actually pay. And for the most part, they're borrowing money from someone else. Like, I was speaking to Anna Mears's dad. She was a 4 times Olympic medalist. She's had a stadium named after her. She was borrowing money into her 30s. This is her dad telling me this. Like, they don't have cash. There's more gen pop people. They've got more dispensable income. There's more chance for niche. Like, use your brain. It's not really about perception of you seeing training this person, that person. It's actually about you helping people. But if you're worried about the perception, well, then maybe you need to be at one of those bodybuilding style gyms. But I guarantee you're not going to get the clients, because I work at one of those.
What's Nate, when you first got into it, when you first started, what did you think your main niche would be? And tell the listeners what it is now.
I had no idea. I wanted it to be guys who wanted to train and put on muscle. For the most part, I've got a couple of those, but it was girls. But I was never silly enough to want athletes. You know why? Because I wasn't athletic. I didn't give a fuck. I've always said it all the time. I used to. I trained for vanity. I trained to look good.
What do you mean used to? What do you mean?
Exactly. I trained to look good, and I want to train people who want to look good. You want to learn how to clean and jerk? Good. Go to this CrossFit idiot. I don't want to train you. Not for me. You want to learn how to hit someone harder on a rugby field? I could probably help you, but I've never done it myself. Mum didn't let me play. So it's not going to happen.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
It's just self-awareness.
Yeah.
Just because someone else wants to train athletes doesn't mean you have to train athletes.
And you know what? And it's much the same on the celebrity front. We've been, we get some pretty big names that come through our club, and I speak to the trainers that come with them. So, hey man, how did you end up training this A-lister, and how did you end up training that rock star? And for anyone listening out there that wants to be a celebrity trainer, go scratch a lotto ticket, because each one of them, every one of them, it was fluke. It was the right place at the right time, doing something completely unrelated, and the planets lined up, and they end up getting a gig with a PT that's taken them around with a celebrity that's taken them around the world. And if I say to them, pinpoint the time that you planned this or that you knew it was going to happen, 0. And for those that have been to our club or whatever, you'll know that these are legit A-listers. 0 of them had a plan, a strategy, or a process in place for it to happen. So if you're trying to find the celebrity, you're better off focusing on your gen pop and being a PT and just waiting for that day for it to happen, because it doesn't happen any other way.
Sandy, bringing this back to you, do you find as a woman it is easier or harder to sell training? Because I have my opinion of the way I think it should be for girls. I'm not talking like their process.
Yep.
I think, and I won't actually repeat this on podcast because God, I don't need this to come back. I think that women should be the busiest people in the gym. Like, I think hands down, if you're a woman in a gym and you are not busier than the boys, like flat out 100%, you're doing something incredibly wrong.
Yep.
That's
Agreed.
what I personally think. Do you find it easier to sell training as a woman, do you feel, or what do you feel
Well, hold on. Before you answer that, Sandy, Nathan, I want to know why you feel that way.
Because girls want to look like them and guys want to... Yeah. Like that's
probably fair to say.
It's the truth.
It's probably also fair to say that in most commercial gyms, the demographic is split in favor. Like there's the population, is split in favor. There's a lot more women that are members of commercial gyms than men. So it's probably, I don't know, it depends obviously on your location, but in my experience, it's probably almost a 60-40 split where there's more females than males, especially if you've got a group fitness culture at that club. So in terms of, you know, potential clients out there being female as well, I think you probably got a fair grab there too, eh?
The main reason I probably would have thought would have been because most guys seem to think that it's a staunch thing, a macho thing. They all know what they're doing. They don't need any help from anyone. So
Yeah, gotcha.
predominantly it's going to be probably females that are investing in personal training.
Cool. Back to you, Sandy.
Yeah, no, look, it's definitely, I think it is easier as a female, and it's exactly what Nate said before. Because like you got to use what you got, right? Like don't get me wrong. Like
if I was a girl,
seriously, like I'm not gonna. Don't get me. I'm not gonna. You know, not one of those girls on. Sorry, but I'm not gonna get my physique out on for Instagram to sell myself. But if like
you and I did for sweetheart.
Smile and nice.
Nate's already got the image.
You know what I mean? I'll do it in a taste of
that would be the girl at the gym that everyone's walking past going, can you believe that trainer put this picture up?
Yeah.
This bitch got her makeup done at 5:15 in the morning. God damn it.
But yeah, look, it is. No, look, you've got to use your charm and you've got to use your smile. And I have a lot of middle-aged, women that I train, but I have a lot of young girls who want to be strong and fit like me, and it's a realistic achievement for them as well. And then I have a couple of dads that I train as well, and I've been in a couple of nights late at night training, and everybody's like, oh, some of the guys come around and like probably lift more than most of the men at that time anyway. But they're quite, they ask advice and they're like, oh, you have an open book or what's going on? And I'm like, just walk away from this situation, see you later. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think if you're a female trainer that's not doing well, I don't know what you're doing wrong, to be honest, because it really has been pretty smooth sailing for me at EMF. I cannot complain.
Cool. Andy, you've got a fair bit of experience there, or you had some years of experience in management roles.
Mm-hmm.
Have a quick think, what would be 3 things you've brought across from your time as a club manager or in a fitness management role onto the role of PT now? What's 3 key things you reckon as the job of the manager has influenced positively on what you're doing now?
Or has there not been any?
Or is there nothing?
Has there not been any? There's things I probably think I should be doing that I don't do. But I think time management, purely. I learned a lot from one of my first managers back in, when I first started out, and then I went under him as a PT manager. And I think one of the best things he ever taught me was just purely just time management. Okay, someone cancels, okay, use that time, that cancellation time to either further your education or, try and get another lead or get something booked in. So yeah, definitely time management. For me as well as just making sure that at the end of every day, I'm doing all the things that need to be done to make sure that it's smooth sailing into the next day. Simple things, emails, programming, nutrition, block that time out. I suppose that falls under time management again as well. Mm-hmm. But, and then just follow up on what you say. Don't ever just say something and not do it. That was my worst thing, managing PTs when they say they're going to do something, they just don't follow up on it. It's a simple thing. You've got a checklist, get through it, get it done and just do it. So yeah, I can't think of the third one yet. Come back to me.
Cool. I mean, the third one might have been just more the communication thing. I thought maybe being able to communicate directly and I guess that comes with a bit of maturity as well. Saying what you need to say for all states, whether it's in the consultation stage, whether it's on the gym floor with your client, whether it's following up, or whether it's just dealing with your colleagues. But cool, good one.
Yeah, dealing with your colleagues, work with your colleagues. Like, I mean, I'm not here to compete. Matt. I'm like Matt. Who are you, Matt? Richo. Call you Richo, and I'm reading your name and going, Matt. Who's Matt? But yeah, like, I mean, I'm like, yeah, we have the same sort of clientele, but I'm definitely not competing with him. At the end of the day, if a woman wants to train with a male, she's not going to come to me. Like, I prefer to train with males. I'm going to go and train with a male. So yeah, we have the same clientele, but just work together. I don't see why everybody's got to be, arguing and fighting against each other and competing. There is no such thing as competition. Just work together.
Yeah.
What actually, what that just reminded me of is, Sandy, why don't you tell everyone what you first thought of me when when I started at the gym.
I just didn't realize
That's
you were
what I
such a nice guy.
I
What did I say to you in the PT office? I went, gosh, I really didn't pick you for such a nice guy. I was like, that came out totally wrong.
my question is, Sandy, what made you choose EMF?
I suppose the variety that they had to offer, once again, like those insecurities crept in. I'm 34 years old and I've been in the industry for a while and I've had a lot of experience, but you still have self-doubt. Those insecurities, I suppose, crept in a little bit, and they had that option for me. They still had the kids there, so they had the kiddies boot camp that I could do. I hadn't taught group fitness for 6 or 7 years, and I remember going into my first boot camp at EMF nervous as anything. But, I did it and I got it done. So I suppose I had a variety of classes for me on offer. So at least I knew my rent was kind of covered. I was prepared to do anything. Like I do acro aerobics, I do kiddies boot camps, I do, the regular boot camps, the Fit 45s. Like I was prepared to do anything. Like as I said, I was going in, all or nothing. So I was going to make this work, and they had the variety. So even though the rent might have been a bit higher, they gave me the security with the kids and the classes. So
that's an interesting thing to raise there, Sandy, that, we talk about going all in and focusing on one thing. Now, granted, it's under the same umbrella, under the one roof of the facility, but how do you find splitting your time between your boot camps and your acro aerobics and your kiddie stuff? And how, if at all, does that take away from building your business as a one-on-one or as a personal trainer, as opposed to a group fitness / personal trainer?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because obviously I started out and I was doing 8, 9, 10 classes a week, probably even more than that, probably 12 classes a week. And then, we had a big challenge that came around, and I got really, really busy because everybody wanted to sign on with me with a challenge because they'd seen I was in the gym and what I was doing. And yeah, so that was the point where I had to go, okay, do I take on more clientele and get rid of classes? What happens when the quiet times come and I don't have those classes anymore, clients sick, clients away, what do I do? And yeah, it was just kind of weighing up the pros and the cons, and just knowing that if something did happen, if a client did drop off and I did give up a class, I'd just have to get back to the books and make sure that I got another client in. So I just had to know where my start point was, what my end point was, and make sure that I was always hitting those numbers.
And how many sessions would you be doing a week now, as opposed to when you're doing what you just said?
So I'm also in a bit of a different situation now, which is a bit, because we're kind of in a good spot as a couple as well. So I'm kind of just deciding that I'm only working, like I'm only doing mornings. I'm not coming back at nights anymore. More than happy to do 10 to 12 sessions a day and then walk away. And I'm only doing 4 classes now. So I still just do the kids and the acro aerobics, and that's it.
Yeah, cool.
So just on that as well. So at the gym, I actually do one of the classes as well. So my reasoning behind the class is a little bit different. It's not so much because how much it brings the rent down or anything like that. Mine's for that's obviously one of the added bonuses, but like we get paid a little bit for that time. But for me, that's one of my best ways to lead gen.
Dude,
so I'm not good on the phone, but I'm good at training people.
Yeah.
So when I'm out, I take the Tabata class for half an hour. So when I take the Tabata class, instead of spending half an hour cold calling or going through lists, my lead gen is taking that class.
Yeah.
Because I start building rapport with the people that come back, and then that's how I pick up a lot of my one-on-one sessions off the back of that, and then people actually getting to see me in action and see my expertise. And I dare say that's how, Sandy, you picked up a lot of yours.
100%.
Yeah. Your sessions.
I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big advocate of that. Yeah. And that's my point, I guess, is to bring it up, was to find out and to let people who are listening and watching this know that you shouldn't use those hybrid roles as a crutch. It should be used more as a springboard, because you're in front of a big group of people one or multiple times a week. They get to see you in action and sample you in a really cool environment, but also you get to develop and build a brand. There's a really cool episode on Joe DeFranco's podcast about developing brand using small team training, and more and more people want to be part of small team training these days. So that was what I wanted to get with that, Sandy. I know people that will go, I need extra coin, I'll go do a class for the $40 or $50 they get from it, rather than I want to be in front of 5 to 15 to 25 to 30 people to expand my reach in that way. So good. If you're using it as a springboard, sensational.
A great tool.
And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, it's because, they're doing a PT course or about to start. So when you're looking at the gym that you're going to start at, shop around and see what they can offer you, because not all gyms offer this. Like that's not a thing that every gym offers. There's only a select few gyms that offer you that ability to do that. Obviously, it does, not going to lie, it does help in the early stages. If it is knocking 30, 40, 50 bucks a class you're doing off your rent, it does make it a little bit less stressful. But at the same time, if you're not really good at cold calling, because most of you won't be, because that's not why you got into the industry in the first place, it just allows you to, again, get experience, which is like Sandy talked about, is one of the biggest things against, I guess, her confidence. You sort of thrust into that environment, you have to get pretty confident pretty quick, because you got to take 5 to 20 strangers every single session.
Yeah.
But then also it helps you build rapport and lead gen. It's for me, it's my favorite type of lead gen, is doing what I love doing, which is training people and then building rapport through that, as opposed to cold calling. But like I said, just remember, when you're looking at a gym to pick which one you're going to start at, not all gyms offer that. So make sure you do ask all those sorts of questions and say, look, what is the deal with this? Do you guys offer that, or are they purely for group fitness instructors only? How does that work?
And it's also it's a great way to just upskill as well. Find out from the gym if they're gonna, if you're not good, if you don't know how to do something, find out if they're willing to help you and, get you to that qualification, whatever it may be. Why not? It's a great way to upskill, learn something new.
Sandy, we've asked ourselves this question. You jump in a time travel machine, you go back to day one, you've got your Cert 4, Fitness First have done their presentation.
Hold on 1 second. Let's make it to current day, 2018, because obviously it's very different times. Very different times in the fitness industry.
Okay, you want to flip it? Right, so it's 2018. Okay, no, you know what? I'm going to stick with it, then we'll flip it.
Okay.
Because obviously we'll take into account there was no social media. The internet has evolved significantly since then. But in terms of what would you tell your rookie self on day one in order to help her succeed earlier than it took you to get there? What's some of the things you'd say, here's a couple of things you're going to need to know as of this point forward?
I think I would have got myself a very good mentor. Definitely. I had a great PT manager, but I don't think he was invested in me. He was, but he wasn't. Like he was just feeding back what he had to feed back. Here's your triple pack. See you later. Enjoy. Right. Yeah. I think I would have got myself a very good mentor. And that's something I've probably done in the past, 3 years, not thinking that I know everything, because you don't know everything. Definitely did not know everything at the age of 21. So yeah, just get yourself a good mentor, pay someone for their time and learn from that person. That's definitely what I would be doing.
Okay. Yeah. Now to put Richo's spin on it, 2018, Sandy has just walked out of whatever course, so she's been presented with her Cert 4 and she's considering kicking off her career as a PT, maybe in a commercial gym setting. What do you tell her?
Get a good mentor. Seriously, yeah.
The same. It's much the same, right? You need someone to kick your ass into gear, good and bad.
Yeah, no.
Those structures nice and early. Pretty much the shit we've covered in the first.
Would that have been the only thing you did different? Because you didn't have bank at the start either. So is that something that you would change?
I probably would have looked at maybe, I suppose because I didn't have the bank, I think I maybe would have taken a job that was probably a bit more, that was going to more into the industry,
I guess my question is, let's pretend that you've just become qualified. You're now Cert 4 qualified. You don't have bank behind you. What is your next move?
Find a job that's going to pay you in the industry, I suppose.
And then save bank and then transition through? Yep,
I would say that, yeah.
Because I think that's going to be a problem that a lot of people are facing. I don't think that this is a day and age where everyone sort of spends as they go, and not a lot of us are great savers. So you might have been spending your saving money. You might have spent your saving money on doing your course. So a lot of you will probably be in the situation where you finish your Cert 3, you finish your Cert 4, you want to start as a PT, but now you don't have bank. And now you're wanting to start, but you're unsure of sort of what path to take.
No, there's definitely
there was
part
a
of
lot
that.
of, sorry.
Go ahead.
There were a couple of jobs around back then even like that would pay you like a minimum wage and just come in and do your 4 hours and do things like that. And
I think the problem is now that I think that position's obsolete. I mean, I don't.
It is.
If you guys can think of it, I can't think of any gym in Queensland or let alone Australia that has a gym floor like a Jimmy.
No,
I'll tell you
I
what.
don't think they do anymore.
No,
I think that's obsolete now. So.
And there's a couple of reasons why. In my opinion, one is because it got butchered. Too many people just sat there and did sweet fuck all during their time. So most businesses went, "Why are we paying you to do nothing?" But for the rookies out there that are doing their Cert 3 and 4, they haven't quite jumped into it yet. If you get the opportunity, I would highly recommend you get into membership consultant role for a number of reasons. Is that if it's in the club, especially if it's in the club you want to be a PT at ultimately, is the amount of people you're going to meet en masse week after week after week as you prepare to move into the PT role. You have an opportunity to hone and sharpen the tools of lead generation, of sales, of business tracking, of converting, of customer service, all of this. And you're just building your database week after week after week. So if you get an opportunity to complete your Cert 4, find a role in a membership sales, membership consultant role in the club that you want to be a PT at, it's almost the holy grail. There's a little tip going out there for all the.
That's some very very solid advice. I know a couple of people that a couple of people that did that at Good Life and have turned around quite positively because they had all the sales skills to just start going out and smashing the conversions.
And the amount of rejections you get in that role thickens your skin real fast. When you're not relying on that yes to pay your bills because you've got a salary, you've got commission. The way I coach it is don't go looking for yeses, go looking for no's. Go and get as many no's you can in a day because it just gets you ready for it. We've had some really good conversions over the years of people that came in and really struggled in an MA role that already told me they wanted to be a PT. And I've just said to them bluntly, if you can't do this, you're going to fail there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
so I guess
those skills and away you go. So that's what I would tell my rookie self going back would be go spend 6 to 12 months or however long it took you to save the required bank in that particular role and you'd get off to a really good head start, I believe. There.
Yeah, I guess there's probably, I'm just trying to spitball because I started opening a can of worms without realizing I was doing it. But I guess even if you're going to go because like we said, we talk about making bank and because the reason why normally we say it is because you're just not under that stress of instead of when you sit down in front of someone, you actually genuinely want to help them. Unfortunately, when you're under financial stress, all you can see is the dollar signs. You're like, fuck, I need this. I need this to eat. So I guess if you've started doing your Cert 3 or Cert 4, or you're coming to the end and you don't have bank and you're already done it and you're already committed, I guess to me, probably having another job on the side, that's sort of one of the times where I feel like it's okay. Yeah. But obviously you have to have an end point or a sort of date on when that's going to expire for you so that you don't do what Sandy did, I guess, trapped in doing that for 10 years before you just finally decide to go all in. Just know that there is an end point to it. And obviously you're just, if you can do that if you've got a little bit of income coming in, you know it's covering your bills, then your stress when you're presenting and your stress when you're trying to pick up clients, it just isn't there, which is what normally puts most people out.
Yeah.
I feel like it loses most people to sell because people can sense if all you're after is the dollars. People can just sense it. So if that's what you've got to do, but like I said, put a time limit on it, like 6 months or 12 months. And after that, pick your time, stick to it. And then after that, regardless of where you're at, throw in the towel in that other job. Like if you go 6 months on the day, that's the day you resign.
True.
Because at least by then you should be up to a decent amount of sessions at least then that's covering your bills. So then you can get rid of that job. This is covering your bills. And now you've got all these extra hours to get to the place that you wanted to be in the first place.
And the
if
skills attached to that
come straight
process,
out. Yeah.
and the skills you'll learn attached to that process are super valuable too. Is working to a timeline, building resilience, understanding what it takes. Like they're all cool things that you'll learn if you do set that line in the sand and work towards it with zero opportunity to flex outside of that. Cool.
That's it.
Perfect. I think that's us.
I've had
It
enough
always
years.
comes to that, doesn't it? We get to a point, it's like,
That's us.
Okay, night
all
night.
windows are quiet. Yep.
Yeah, the
Mooney's
TV's
got to
gone
go.
off upstairs.
Mooney's going to go do something else probably.
Thanks for being on the show, Sandy. That's episode.
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me, guys.
Thanks, Sandy.
That's
You're
a
way
wrap.
better. You're way better than Richo.
Oh,
If he
thank
ever
you.
calls in sick, we'll give you the call up. You might even get a permanent spot.
No problems. Happy
We'll
to.
give you his.
Solid
Thank you so
team.
much.
See you guys. Thank
guys.
you.
Next week.
Thanks, guys. See you later.